year is 1943. America is embroiled in a war that would reshape the world. In Washington, D.C., a 16-year-old boy considers his future. His father, a World War I veteran, had passed away 6 years earlier from a lung disease likely caused by the chemical gases of the battlefields. With his mother widowed, the boy quit high school, taking a job at the Washington Post to help support her. But World War II called to him. As a young patriot, he wanted to join the fight, to do his part. At only 17 years old, he had a difficult conversation with his mother. He asked to enlist in the United States Marine Corps. His mom, remembering the husband she lost to the effects of war, was at first unwilling, but she heard the conviction in his voice. She knew he would not be deterred, so she signed his papers for his chance to become a Marine. 5 days before his 18th birthday, he was officially sworn into the Marine Corps. After training in South Carolina, North Carolina, and Hawaii, he found himself crouched in a boat, bouncing over and across the unforgiving waves of the Pacific Ocean, heading toward a very small speck on a map, the island of Iwo Jima. At 9:08 a.m. on February 19, 1945, his landing craft slammed onto the black, sandy, volcanic beach. With enemies all around, he flipped over the side, a split-second decision to avoid the direct line of fire. He landed in the deep, black volcanic sand, which made every step a struggle. His mission now: take out an enemy machine gun nest and set up a communication post 200 yards inland. Within an hour, he had struggled his way to the observation post. It was a brief moment of relative safety, but on this island, safety was an illusion. Suddenly, a deafening blast, an artillery shell slammed into the post. The explosion instantly killed 2 radio operators and tore the arm from a lieutenant. He too had been hit, with shrapnel penetrating deep into his knee. Wounded, he and the lieutenant helped each other back to the beach. They were triaged and loaded onto a hospital ship. From the deck of that ship, he observed the calamity he survived. Only 4 days later, in what would become one of the most iconic photographs in American military history, the United States flag was raised atop Mount Suribachi, giving hope and optimism to the American cause. Following his injury, he was sent back to the States, spending the next year in rehab, his knee a constant reminder of what he endured. He would go on to earn a Purple Heart and a Bronze Star with a V device for valor. After his recovery, he returned to the Washington Post, his old newspaper job. Later, he went on to earn degrees in English and history from George Washington University and Luther College of Iowa. While at Luther, he met and fell in love with Margaret, the woman who would become his wife. Together, they built a life and raised two daughters, Rebecca and Ruth. More than 80 years have passed since landing on the black sand beach of Iwo Jima, a boy who lost his father to war, who gave up his youth for our country, forever a hero, whose legend is both quiet and larger than life itself. When I had a chance to meet with him a few weeks ago, we talked about his experience, his willing recollection to talk about what he called Iwo. As he walked to the sidewalk curb on the way out the door, I put my hand on his shoulder and I thanked him for his service and his sacrifice. He stopped and he paused a moment with his head down, his weary and tired hands of 99 years firmly gripping his walker. He shook his head ever so slightly and glanced over and simply said, "What a life." Of the 70,000 American soldiers that fought on the island of Iwo Jima, it is believed that only 4 are still living. And the one whose story I just told is with us today. He represents the courage and sacrifice that define our nation's veterans. He is a living legend and a true American hero. There is no greater privilege than to introduce to Springfield, Nebraska, a Marine, a World War II veteran, and an Iwo Jima survivor, Mr. Bob Boyd.